So the children who are here, they are visually impaired. We get children from all corners of our country, and we also get children from our neighboring countries. The firewood right now is damn expensive, and firewood has very many disadvantages. And those who are cooking, they suffer a lot from the smoke as they breathe, which is not good for our health. And this biogas has done great things for us. It is helping us in great need. We are realizing that we will do away with firewood, but we will use the dung that we have to produce the fuel that we need.
Schools are ideal for biogas as they have a large number of people in a small area. But there's nowhere in Kenya more densely populated than its overcrowded prisons. Meru Prison in northern Kenya was designed for 129 inmates. Today it holds 1,154.
Because of the way the prison is built up, congestion is one of the major causes of ailments like diarrheal diseases like typhoid and also the respiratory infections. But since that biogas project started, the sewage is being managed well. I can say, or according even to my reports, diarrheal cases have really reduced in prison. The cost of treatment was very high. Before we used to have around 50 cases of typhoid per month. But like now, we have only one case, or even some other months we don't have any at all.
This is the Meru Prison Biogas plant. The wastewater from the prisoners comes all the way from up there where the cells are, and it connects together with the cow dung which comes from this cow shed. They mix together, and then there's a pipeline that supplies that biogas now after it has been collected from the main tank all the way to the kitchen.
I've been here for 2 years and my sentence is 2.5 years. Since we got biogas here, it's different. There's plenty of heat, but there's not the smoke like there is over there. The ovens over there use so much firewood, so much.
Feeding the population is also another problem. The population that goes around 1,200 requires a lot of firewood. It is expensive. Take for example, we normally use 1 ton a day. 1 ton of firewood. But after the biogas, we now spend something close to, let's say, a 50% reduction. So if you would have the projects in all over the country, it would ease a lot. In fact, the government would save a lot. Human waste is a resource. Okay, that is what we have come to learn. So it is no longer termed as a human waste. It is a human resource for what we have seen from the project.
Biogas can be used in a number of ways. It can be used for cooking. It can be used also for lighting. There are biogas lamps. There are water heaters that use biogas for heating water. It can also be used for generating electricity. So many of the rural areas have not yet been supplied with electricity. Our government is not in a position to supply enough electricity to our country.
Biogas has the potential to be scaled up to produce much-needed power for the rapidly expanding urban population using the town's own sewage.
Look at this! So much a big potential to generate a lot of biogas, and it can supply enough electricity to the whole Meru town. This is a lot of power, this is a lot of energy.
It's 1 second before midnight for the estimated 700 mountain gorillas left in the wild. Their forest refuge is being cleared for charcoal. Gillian Miller of the gorilla organisation may have a solution that's designed to help people and the gorillas. The mountain gorillas survive in the Virunga volcanoes straddling Uganda, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Their habitat inside what is meant to be a protected area is vanishing fast. Poaching is one threat, but if the forest is destroyed, the gorillas will not survive. Years of civil war have created refugees and lawlessness where it's a free-for-all for resources.
The Eastern Congo has been at war for 15 years now, and one of the main driving forces behind the war has been conflict over natural resources. And of course those include mineral resources, but also timber resources. And around Goma, where we are, charcoal is a major importance. It's a natural resource on which people are dependent.
The Virunga National Park is supposed to be off-limits to charcoal traders, but this is a part of the world where guns and militias have the upper hand.
The gorilla shares 98% of its genes with man. And if we're to lose the gorillas, we're losing a part of human history.
You know, if you look into a gorilla's eyes, it's not like looking into any other animal's eyes. They're as curious about you as you are about them. The gorillas don't actually need that much looking after. The gorillas will survive if their habitat survives. Like a lot of endangered species, the real threat to the gorillas is the loss of habitat.
The loss of the gorilla's habitat is down to human needs. With few alternatives to firewood, charcoal is big business.
The annual turnover in charcoal is worth about $30 million a year, and it's being controlled by the armed groups, the militias, who are hiding out in the park, trying to get as much money as they can. And so it's a very major problem for us.
The fighters in the forest don't even have to make or sell charcoal to profit from it.
They sell what they call jetons, these little tickets that enable people to go into the forest without getting killed by those armed groups. And that's how they make money. They don't actually do any work. They operate a protection racket.
Currently, in Democratic Republic of Congo, we are in a post-conflict period. The government has to focus on reconstruction, so we really need external support from conservation organisations.
We have
the greatest biodiversity in Africa, if not the world. So we have a responsibility to the world to ensure the conservation of this biodiversity.
The gorilla organisation is motivated by the knowledge that helping the gorillas helps the people. If all the forest goes, only a few charcoal traders will have benefited.
As myself, I've worked 20 years ago with gorillas. They look like my brothers and sisters. And people kill your sister, people kill your brother, you feel very, very bad in your heart. Just when they have killed those gorillas, I've spent about 5 days without eating something.
Our work involves working with the communities that surround the national parks where the gorillas are.
The organisation's Stoves for Survival may be the last best hope for this biodiverse region. The forested slopes are an important watershed, vital not only to the great apes, but also to poor farmers. A locally designed charcoal-efficient so-called Jiko stove is made from easily available materials at the Gorilla Organisation's centre in Virunga. A metal barrel forms the main body, and the stove itself is made from clay. The insulating clay and an improved airflow into the fire make the stove more efficient.
The traditional African stove in this part of Africa would be made of 3 stones and would use an awful lot of fuel. We make fuel-efficient stoves that use 50 to 80% less fuel.
In fact, families using the new stove are now using just 1.5 sacks of charcoal a month instead of 4, the organisation says. That means saving cash that would be spent on charcoal or time collecting firewood.
In
the past, I used an ordinary stove. It used a lot of charcoal. After 1.5 weeks, the sack would be finished. But with this new stove, I use a sack and it lasts an entire month. And you can see I cook a lot.
Inafanya mwezi mzima. Na nyi peke mnaona napiga sana.
I'm using the savings for other things. I have many children, so there's a lot of schooling. All of them are going to private school.
Since the project began at the beginning of 2008, more than 500 stoves have been produced and demand is strong. The initial cost of $2 for the stove itself is quickly recouped in fuel savings, while the money is ploughed back into the project, which includes a tree planting programme aimed at relieving pressure on the native species.
I like this new stove. It is economic with charcoal. It's very clean. There is not much smoke. You can see it's not dirty when you cook. There is no ash underneath. I like it a lot. It's not just me. Everyone prefers this one.
The stove is not the only way that the guerrilla organisation is trying to take the pressure off the forests.
We also finance the use of alternative fuel, making briquettes out of biomass for burning instead of using charcoal.
This not only reduces the demand for charcoal, but provides an income for families.
The money helps. I employ some people to help on the farm, and I can send my children to school. They are very good, because it's very rapid to cook, much quicker than charcoal.
At the moment, with the fuel-efficient stoves and the tree planting and the alternative fuel, we're trying to address an immediate problem, but it's going to take a lot of work.
For the people trying to protect the guerrillas, the work is dangerous. The illicit trade in charcoal is a money spinner here.
The aim is to have the people who live around the national parks realise the value of having the gorillas there and having those parks and that tremendous biodiversity, so that they themselves turn around and defend those environments against poachers, warlords, armies, whoever it is, but basically that they get some value from those parks and that they have a reason to want to protect them themselves.